My political beliefs have changed from the past.
Yep.
I grew up in a conservative household, actually, in Ohio. And my parents were always pretty political, so I always stayed political. I was very religious as a teenager. Sometime during college and then afterwards, especially during COVID, my sister actually indoctrinated me into a more leftist position. And I overcorrected a little bit. I started becoming pretty cringy as far as like, sit down and let the minorities all talk, right? Don't say anything, don't speak over them, etc. They would, it was like the whole you can't speak over Candace Owens even if she's literally a Nazi kind of thing. So I stand by that. So
hey, I gotta give him props for that. You know what I'm saying? Like out of all these suckers sitting on the for the liberal side, he's the only one that's like, even though he is a little cringe, you know what I'm saying, a little like, but like, hey, I gave him one of the chest bumps, when he said that, like, hey, I appreciate you saying that because nobody else on that panel was gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm I gotta give him props on that one.
Yeah, I kind of leveled out, thankfully, and I'm less cringe now.
Did you? Are you?
I cringed.
Yeah. This is leveled out. Imagine if we would have been here a year ago.
I mean, maybe I am being cringe. Who cares?
So I grew up conservative, but I did have more left-leaning ideas about like Black Lives Matter and critical race theory, and I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I did agree that Black people were oppressed and all of these different things, and that we were kind of got the short end of the stick. And during 2020, when there was everything crazy was happening, and I started organizing rallies against the mandates because I thought that they were just totally unconstitutional and un-American. And then George Floyd dies, and initially I was like enraged like everybody else, and then it started to become this weird like political like agenda masquerading or behind his face. Like the face of what was actually happening started to peel off, and I was like, oh, I would counter protest BLM activists at my town square when I lived in Texas, and they were some of the most just bitter, vile, horrible people you could ever meet. Meanwhile, like the Confederate group that would protest there against them also, they were like the nicest people ever to me, ironically.
Ironically, why do you think?
Look at your perceived proximity to whiteness. Look at you. You're not chocolate like myself or superior. You are not as black as us. Shit. No wonder why we're so goddamn nice to your light skin ass.
And what side are you standing on? Of course they gonna take your token behind. Oh, they probably love it. Like, yeah, this light-skinned black person is sharing the same views as my racist behind. Of course they're gonna like you. What do you think?
They're probably whispering behind this girl's back. Dance for me, little nigger. Dance for me. Dance for me, little nigger.
Yeah, and it's weird because I guarantee you the folks she was counter protesting was a bunch of black folks. And I'm pretty sure they was calling her names. So I think she probably deserves that. In the Confederate side, like, maybe she doesn't know what the Confederacy represents. I'm just gonna give her the benefit because she said that like she was proud. Like, yeah, the Nazis, they befriended me. Like, that's not a flex. That's not a good thing. Like, what are you talking about? I think you're on the wrong side of the conversation. And she said, like, once before I understood that the disparities when it comes to Black history and kind of some of the things that they had to overcome throughout, centuries. But it changed because of the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Like, what does that have to do with Black history? It doesn't negate Black history. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And again, with this point about BLM, if your frustration is with the national chapter, have at it. We agree. Those motherfuckers were greedy as fuck with that money. They shouldn't have bought that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That should have gone to where it was supposed to go. That's on the national chapter. I don't know why you're throwing shade at local chapters that engage in mutual aid.
Yep.
So that's again, all it takes is for people to differentiate this shit. It's not fucking hard. No, not. I'm not telling you to master political theory or read text from read text from Mikhail Bakunin or Karl Marx or any of these other motherfuckers who are probably boring as shit to read. No, I'm not telling you to read any like philosophical text or some shit. Just pay the fuck attention.
But she kind of hinted on her level of education, I want to say, or just where she gets her sources. She said YouTube. Now, I know I'm on YouTube and I try to educate in the best of my abilities, so I don't want to knock that down. But when she said things like critical race theory, she has to understand. She probably doesn't know what critical race theory is. It's a good chance, because if she understood what that really is, it has nothing to do with 99.9% of these political conversations. Kids are not being taught critical race theory. A lot of high schoolers aren't being taught that. I know I didn't. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole legal conversation. You know what I'm saying? So for her to kind of just put that into her reason on why she kind of made a switch is like, it shows her lack of maturity in this political conversation, because that has nothing to do with changing her perspective on critical race theory and just what is it just racial systematic oppression, and kind of trying to figure that out historically and how that is in the present. That has nothing to do with anything else. So for her just to throw that in is like, yeah, you obviously don't know what you're talking about. But, you know, of course, she just wants to sit there and smile and be like, ah, yeah, critical race theory. Now I'm a conservative. Okay, get out of here. You're fired.
It's all it takes is to look shit up. If you're gonna be on YouTube, there's hell. I guess at the end of this, I could talk about my political transformation, because like a lot of people would be, I'm sure some people would be interested in it, because how can someone that had my brain go a completely different direction than even your own folks, and even look at you funny like, how'd this happen? But yeah, come on, it's not hard to figure this out. It's really not.
It's not, but it feels like it's more convenient to have their positions. You know what I'm saying? Like a corner store, like it's on every block. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's more combative. It's more pleasing to the ears with some of the rhetoric that a lot of these conservatives just spout out. It's convenient. You know what I'm saying? But it takes no reading. It takes no digging into, no tapping in. You don't have to do that. Oh, it's critical race theory. All right, that's the answer. Why black folks can't, prosperous and get out of their situation? Critical race theory. Why is it raining so much? Critical race theory. Like it's just easy to believe what they do, because it takes no effort on their end. Just blame it on critical race theory, Black Lives Matter, and what is old boy always complaining? Government assistance. Those are your three biggest issues right there. Everything else, yeah. So, but let's hear what the rest of these clowns have to say.
I grew up in a democratic, not a democratic household, but kind of apolitical, but everybody was Democrat. And then I got a job.
I don't even know what that means.
And when I got a job,
okay.
and I saw all the taxes come
So
out,
that basically
and I
means,
started looking to the left.
Well, pause for a minute. That basically just means, everybody, when they just go to vote, they vote Democrat, but then there's really no discussion on politics in the House. That's basically what that is.
I mean, I know, but like, if they voted Democrat, I'm assuming they had Democratic perspective and, just a way to tackle situations.
I wouldn't assume that, because in this system, you're not really voting for something. You're voting against something most of the time. So it's more like most of the time it's more of a vote against Republicans than it is for Democrats.
I mean, but still, then what are you voting against then? You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be like she made it seem like they weren't political, but they just voted Democrat. Like, well, why are you voting Democrat? If it's not for something, then it's against something. What are you voting against, which is Republican? What policies or what person are they voting against that's Republican? Like, it's a reason. And it feels like she doesn't know, doesn't care, like doesn't want to say. Like, you can't just be like, yeah, my family didn't talk politics, but they voted Democrat. Like, no, it's a reason why they did. You know, like usually if people don't care about politics, they just don't vote or just don't even want to talk about it. Like, I don't even want to vote because I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't know. It felt like she just tried to like make that up on a fly or something. I don't know. It was just like a weird answer to me, which I hate when people like give those, you know, right in the fence type answers. Like, they just voted Democrat. Like, oh, okay, sure, I guess. I don't know. But let's see what she says.
And to the right and going, oh, my money's whittling away over here. And I said, you know what? After Reagan, I'm just going to go ahead and declare myself a Republican. And I've been a Republican ever since.
My mom is pretty liberal.
The money.
So you mean
money.
The same Ronald Reagan, right? That acted like a bitch when the Black Panthers used their Second Amendment rights.
Ooh.
So you mean the same Ronald Reagan that disrespected Thomas Sankara in 1984 by not formally inviting him to the White House, but instead, you know where Thomas Sankara was at? Harlem, around a bunch of our folks. And he spoke at Harriet Tubman Elementary School.
The same guy who put a war on drugs that created legislation and policies that targeted Black folks. I mean, that same guy, right?
Welfare queens is a terminology. Like,
are we talking about the same guy? Because it can't be the same person that she's referring to. It has to be a whole nother president somewhere. I don't know. But she said, you know, I don't know how big her checks were. Like, it must have been amazing. And if it went from like, you know, making, you know, $600 a week to like, you know, $2,000 a week, then okay, I get it. Okay, you need that money to support yourself, her kids. I get it. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't that big of an increase. So she's going to throw her folks under the bus for a few extra dollars. Really? That's it? That's all it took to get you? Oh my, woo.
It goes back to what I said.
Oh no.
It goes back to what I said in the last video. It's the commodification of blackness.
Oh, that's sad.
Literally, it's so, we have such an anti-black structure and state and racist capitalist class that literally blackness is commodified to be turned against other Black people. That's the basis of why tokens even exist.
Man.
As weapons to turn Black folks against other Black folks. What led to the demise, to COINTELPRO, what led to the infiltration of the Black Panthers and ultimately Fred Hampton's murder, all that shit.
Damn, that's sad, bro. Once again, you know, if there was Black liberals or Black progressive or Black radicals, whoever, I think anyone would have been like, because you got a few extra dollars, that's all it took to turn you. Oh, okay, damn, that's it, huh? Okay, whew. Jesus, man, no morals, no integrity, like no standards whatsoever. Just a few dollars turned you. Okay, I see who you are now. Oh Jesus! All right, let's see what this non-liberal has to say. Jesus Christ.
Well, she married my stepdad when I was like 15, 16 in high school, and he's super conservative, like loved Trump, diehard Trump fan. And they had a lot of like back and forth, hearing the two sides, like people who are on such polar opposites just like argue all the time about stuff, seeing that there's a lot of similarities in both sides, like the far radical left and the far radical right, they have a lot of similarities. They just don't want to come and like see it.
I started off actually kind of similar to you.
Do you know what the similarity is? Does she know? Okay, if she did all this listening and maybe she actually listened, huh?
What is she defining as far radical left?
Well, that was another question, because it's like we can kind of describe what a far a Republican is, but what's far left to her? Like someone who's advocating for higher wages? That's radical to you? Someone who wants free healthcare? That's radical to you? I don't know. Like that sounds pretty good to me. Like if that's radical, then I'm beyond that. Like extra radical with some extra ketchup on that. But what?
She'd have a panic attack if she saw me. Have a goddamn panic attack.
But one thing that I wish somebody would have challenged her, like from the black folks or the white folks on that panel, be like, what's the similarities of the two parties or the two voters on these parties are arguing? And I would say because 9 times out of 10 they're poor or they're struggling financially, health wise, education is something that they're all struggling with. And if they can once again get out of this, like you say, this red and blue game, maybe they will understand that. Like, oh, it's the capital class. Oh, those are the ones that's putting their thumb on the scale and kind of creating this environment. Maybe, but no. Once again, she's not even paying attention, so I don't expect her to have such an answer.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. All right, let's see what Destiny has to say.
I grew up very conservative. My mom is Cuban, so ride or die Bush supporter, who is now a ride or die Trump supporter. I think the point of my life when I was the most like libertarian was probably the lowest point of my life financially. And I think it's because something that conservatives do really well is they make you feel like you can always like succeed as long as you work hard enough. And that's something that progressives and liberals suck at, that you're a victim of systemic racism, you're black so you're going to be discriminated against, you're a woman so nobody's going to care about your feelings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Republicans will tell you, listen, if you work hard, you can do whatever you want, like just as long as you're willing to put in the work. And I felt that way up to the moment where I was losing my house, where I had an ex-girlfriend that was pregnant, where I had been fired from my previous job. There was a whole bunch of horrible stuff going on in my life, and I very, very luckily got into online content creation. And from there, as I started to make more money, I started to pay more taxes. When I get older and I look at taxes that come out of my paycheck, I care a little bit, but it was just so funny to me that back when I was making $15,000, $20,000 a year, I'm like, I gotta vote for the lower tax bracket, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm barely paying any taxes anyways. And now that I'm older, like if the government wants to take, a few, 10, 20, whatever, how many more $1,000 out.
You just said you worked hard.
I did, but I got very, very, very lucky doing so. Very lucky.
You think it's just luck?
It's not just luck, but the difference is that born into a wealthier family, you can make so many more mistakes in life. And when you're born poor, you get like 1 or 2 before your life is over. And that's really sad to me.
Yeah, so I used to...
Yep. I now everything else Destiny was saying up to that point is like, okay, like I get what, why he made the switch. But what he said at the end was, if you're rich, or if you're, I don't want to say rich, but like if you are in a family where they're making pretty good money, for example, you can have a kid at 18, 19 years old and you still be chilling, because I'm pretty sure your parents love you. Unless they just don't love you, then you're already screwed. But
I wouldn't advise it though.
Well, yeah, definitely don't advise it. But like you have more cushion. You have a little bit like he said, you can make more mistakes and still be pretty well off. But if you're poor and your family has nothing to give you, if you are out there on your own and you just need a couple of dollars, your parents don't even got that for you because they're asking you for money. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be very aware of your situations and the choices you make, because 1 or 2 slip ups and that's your behind. You know what I'm saying? Lose your job because, for whatever reason, because, we live in an at-will state, so you can get fired for any reason. Let that happen. That's your behind. You gonna be struggling for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So that could kind of challenge somebody's political stance when they kind of see how all this works, and it's like, yeah, either party really kind of address any of those situations. But I think Destiny did a pretty decent job kind of hitting that on the nose right there.
Yeah, this would have been the opportunity to really go into class, to really flesh those things out. I get it that you only got so much time, and Destiny did a decent job of what he had. It's just that this is what I hate about these super police debates. I'm like, dude, you're robbing people of content. You're robbing people of authenticity. The whole reason that it's pretty much looking like Trump versus Biden again. It's pretty much looking like that again. It's because people see through the inauthenticity of all these politicians and all these people trying to power grab.
Yep.
So, in what? Biden's decrepit as fuck. This man's brain is melting faster than chocolate on a sidewalk, and Donald Trump's over here making money off of his mugshot. I figured it'd have a backlash. There's a backlash, even amongst some of our people's black folks. And Trump's not a nigger. I'm like, no. Since when? What the fuck? Y'all quick to do that shit.
I know. I missed the email on that one. Like,
yeah, hold on. Did I hit my junk box?
Jesus.
It can stay in that junk box. I'm gonna say shit.
Yeah.
But it's so. Honestly.
All right,
It was decent from Destiny. I'm tired of these debates that are so policed. There's no authenticity there.
Yeah.
You can feel it. You can feel it being there's real moments, but it's most of it feels policed.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, let's see what these clowns got to say.
Be a liberal. I voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016, as much as I regret that now. My family was pretty left-wing. Some of the people in my family were radically left, would refer to white people as blue-eyed, red-headed devils, things of that nature. And as I got older, I actually started being really outspoken for BLM. I was supposed to be on a reality show teaching people how to be a BLM activist. At the time, I did a deep dive on BLM, and I started to realize all of these lies. So then I took a step back. I'm like, okay, what else am I being lied to about? And I started looking at the Democratic Party and questioning my own loyalty to being on the left.
I personally think both sides.
Okay.
The Democratic Party is not left at all.
Oh my God.
This is why we need black radicals on this stage.
Jesus Christ.
Some of us will point out, a lot of us will be on the stage and just going, the Democratic Party is not left. Bernie Sanders at best is a social democrat, which is what center is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not really that left either. So when we talk left, what we mean by left is what pushed FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, to do the New Deal. The left is what really pushed him. The socialists, the communists, the anarchists, the Marxists, and labor. Mm-hmm. Those are the real left. That's the real left that pushed FDR to say to his rich asshole friends, look, you idiots, if you don't give up some of this wealth now, these people are going to get so pissed off, they will take every motherfucking thing from us and it'll be over. So shut the fuck up, get them this shit so we can keep what we got.
Exactly.
Understand? Good.
And I don't understand. It just feels when it comes to messaging from, I guess, Democrats or just really anybody, the award has to go to Republicans, because when it comes to messaging for good or for bad, they are the best at that. Because Black Lives Matter started out as a movement, as a statement and weirdly enough, it turned into an organization, not the locals, but an organization which took advantage because people are people, and some people are greedy, but Republicans did a good job with meshing Black Lives Matter, the movement, the not slogan, but just the statement, Black Lives also matter, with the organization that did what a lot of organizations do, which is lie and steal from people. And situations like him, he wants to now, he found that out, and all of a sudden he's questioning everything, which is good. But I mean, if you're questioning the Democrats, why can't you question the Republican Party? Because I'm pretty sure if you turn on that black light, you're going to find a lot of more disgusting things under that blanket. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand the logic. Like, I'm going to, it's like a woman leaving her abusive husband for a more abusive husband. Like, that doesn't make sense. Leave abusive people alone. But I don't know. Once again, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one. At this point, it feels like I'm just the weird one because, all right, let's see what he has to say.
Tend to be racist in different ways. I don't think the government is.
Oh no, she makes a good point here.
Realize all of these lies. So then I took a step back. I'm like, okay, what else am I being lied to about? And I started looking at the Democratic Party and questioning my own loyalty to being on the left.
I personally think both sides tend to be racist in different ways. I don't think the government is on the side of the people in general, and that's just me being, a radical.
When I was young, I used to jump for joy and say, oh.
A radical, man, I didn't see not a radical bone in her body during this 45 minutes and 45 seconds. Like, that was probably the smallest glimpse of, like, maybe she's paying attention, but, like, the rest of her answers didn't support any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but, she makes a good point. Like, at the end of the day, they're all racist in their own right. They're, both parties are somewhat fascist in their own way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at the end of the day, neither party is looking out for your best interests. So, like, maybe you shouldn't, like, participate, in this bickering back and forth with fellow citizens, when at the end of the day, they don't care about neither of you guys. So I don't know, but God bless her heart.
Yeah,
all right.
That's a bright moment of the day.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
Oh yeah, Obama, black president, that's so amazing. He's the same color as me. But when I started to do more research, one of the biggest things I was confused about is, well, why is he a Democrat? What is a Democrat? I did more research about the Democrat Party, and sure, you guys are gonna pop off about the head saying, oh, there's a party switch in the Southern strategy and all these things.
Which is true.
Which you may say is true. I don't believe it is true at all.
You're
I
wrong.
understand, you may think I'm wrong.
You are.
However, one of the biggest questions I had was, why is Obama in the same party as the people that started the KKK, the same people that voted against the Civil Rights Act, the same people that are on the news talking about how black people aren't able to accomplish anything and need to be on welfare and need to be promoted with affirmative action and things of that nature.
I also...
Okay, so my question is, who are those people voting for now? Because those same racist people who had that same belief then still have the same belief now, but they're not voting Democrat. They're not voting. They still running around with the Confederate flag, and they're voting for your boy Trump.
Exactly.
I don't understand why he's so like he's doing this on purpose. He got to, because I don't know. Jesus, I don't know. I don't know what to think of him, because on one end, if you're saying this stuff on purpose, being disingenuous on purpose, you have to know you sound ridiculous. You sound stupid. I don't know who you're trying to impress by, but like, you know what? I did research. Why is Obama running for the Democratic Party when 60, 70, 80, 90 years ago, it was the Democratic Party who was the racist party? who was. Okay, so who's the party now? Once again, a simple question, but maybe, you know, the white liberals, they don't feel comfortable challenging him in that aspect. So, you know, he's freely to just say these weird, you know, acrobatic sentences, and is like, okay, I guess, sure, you know, which, you know, once again, I'm glad Cornel West is not running as a Democrat, because, you know, idiots like this will still be asking the same question with in regards to Cornel West. So, oh, Jesus Christ, man, that guy, that kid would give me a headache. You know, God bless his parents, man, because that young dude is a headache.
Yeah, thankfully the young males, the young brothers that I've taught before are not like this. He probably got roasted and cussed out by them.
Oh,
And
easily.
rightfully so. I'm thankful for that, at least. They look like they're younger than him. So, shit.
Yeah, I don't. Man, all right, let's hear what he has to say.
In terms of, I guess, of my political journey, I was raised conservative, actually. And then high school became, I guess, sort of apolitical. And then throughout college, and I guess just throughout my life since then, I think I guess you can call me a progressive, you can call me, you know, socialist, whatever you, but I guess that's, in the area of where I fall. You said that you were a Bernie fan in 2016, and then you transitioned to being, I guess, more conservative. I guess, I don't know, to me, Bernie Sanders, from what he said to what you think now, what was the shift?
For me, it was socialism, because back then I was a very broke college kid, and I just had this mentality that everything should be free, and I was feeling a bit entitled, like everything should be handed to me because I was black, because I was very much in that mentality.
Okay.
What
now,
the fuck?
Okay. At first, I felt sorry for the young black kid. I felt that he was, you know, just horribly misguided. He has horrible parents to let him just be highly uneducated and just pretend as if he knows something. But then I hear him say what he just said. This guy right here, you know, with the maroon, he said at one point he felt like everything should just be given to him. Like, who in their natural God-given mind would just be like, I deserve free things. I deserve everything. Who? Like, who in a serious conversation, who lives in reality, would ever really believe that you deserve everything and everything should be free? That sounds like a Republican talking point, and he's wearing that. Like, even if you do believe that, you would never admit it, because you know that makes you look stupid. But he's like, yeah, I used to think that when I was a Democrat. That's the only reason why he said it, you know, because he was a Democrat and he felt like everything should be given to him for free. You know, so of course, you know, he's playing that game where, you know, Democrats think, you know, everything should be free and given to black people because they're special. Like, he now takes the award of being stupid on that, the most stupid on that panel for saying that.
And like I said, it shows just not even an I can't even say mediocre understanding. It shows the lack of giving a fuck to understand what socialism actually is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus. That's like a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it's like when I brought up in the elder video, I don't know if you remember the entire comment chain I got into about the difference between stateless and state socialism. Well, the guy's like, one hasn't been used. Well, that one doesn't matter. It still fits the fucking definition, jackass. How does it magically not matter when it's part of the damn definition? How does that work? Like, do words just like arbitrarily change meanings? Like, you could do a backflip or a damn handstand and words all of a sudden change meaning like that?
I guess like this guy here thinks that socialism is where everything is just given to you for free. It's like, oh no, maybe you should like maybe read. And maybe like figure it out, and then you shape your opinions and your perspective on the information that you just retained. Then you can have a better argument. Oh,
You know what
man.
you know that at from the Black Autonomy Federation, the thing I sent, the first one I sent, I think it was you and Ty. The first one I sent was the commune. Literally, community control of the black community. That would be the first thing. I'm like, here, go read it. Here, just read it.
He ain't gonna read it. It's not gonna. It's it's going to be too much for him. He already left the Democratic Party, which is understandable. But then he would have no other safe home, no other safe plantation if he was to be like, well, the Republican Party, like it'll just be too much for him, and some people just are not built like that. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is a Martin Luther King. Not everybody can, ride for the people. You know what I'm saying? You need people like this to exist. So the real individuals like the Huey P. Newtons, can arise and do something for their people. But you need people like this to exist, unfortunately. So, all right. Okay, they're gonna get into reparations, and this will be our last one here.
I learned more about free markets. As I learned more about capitalism, I started to appreciate that much more. I started to appreciate small business much more, limited government, low regulations. I just started to like that much more. But I would say just more when it comes to economics, I don't agree with him.
Reparations.
Okay, I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't want to stop the video again, but I had this argument. I had this argument with someone in my comments today, and they were like, they said something along the lines of, we don't need government. We just need more mom and pops businesses, to thrive, and we just need more of that. And then just real simple, do you think with the monopoly of these big corporations are going to let any mom and pop shop thrive in any way, shape, or form? That is a negative. It's a reason why they call it a monopoly. I don't know if they ever played Monopoly, but that's what happens. They take over the board to where you can't move and pass go. You're not going to have that amazing mom and pop business thrive and grow if we continue to have these corporations eating everything up. Amazon is a perfect example. It's not going to happen.
This is why the pursuit of profit ultimately produces its very own negation. That's why when you have infinite growth in terms of these companies just growing into perpetuity, they ultimately create the negation of their own growth, which is monopoly. Because that's why you have something like the general law of capitalist accumulation, where these companies are eventually broken up by a governing body, by a government, when they get too big. When you hear the terms like banks are too big to fail.
Oh yeah, that's when you know something is.
Yeah, that's how you know they have to be broken up. And like I was having you look up the chart of feudalism then and now. More people really need to see that.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think people really get it when I say or anyone else says, like, bro, we got a lot of people not understanding how this works. The politicians are like low on the totem pole. They're not the be all end all. There's an apparatus that funds them.
Mm-hmm.
So shit. I mean, this is why the analysis has to be on the system.
Yep.
You can't play this red-blue game because you're getting distracted away from who's really holding the strings. And that is the elites themselves.
And hopefully one day these individuals, well, everyone essentially, will wake up to that. So, all right, let's hear what these people gotta say about reparations, man.
are necessary.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Oh, sheesh.
When we talk about reparations, I think that doing reparations in the way that a lot of people think of it, where we just give it to black people, I'm not an expert on this, but I think it would be more income-based, and that in itself, like I said earlier, would disproportionately benefit black people, because if you recognize that they are disproportionately affected by a systemic injustice, then doing it on like a class level would uplift proportionally more black people than white people or any other race.
Yeah, I think like mostly like black GIs that were left out of like the New Deal, for instance, that to be able to come back and as a white American, as a white veteran, to get a home loan and then build that generational wealth, you could not get that as a black American. So there needs to be, I think, reparations. I don't care really what form it comes from. I think free healthcare, free college, so that everyone has like an equal opportunity to educate themselves, to build a better life for themselves. So it's sort of like, and I think Germany is also a perfect model to follow. You know, by issuing, first of all, a formal apology, which we haven't even done that. But also just like donating to like different funds, and you know, just I think a more equitable society striving for that is reparations in and of itself.
I have no problems with reparations if they had happened initially during the like slavery or the civil rights movement or any of that. But to try and do that now logistically just doesn't really make any sense. And like, where would this money come from? Like, we're in so much debt as a nation. Would I get this money? I'm biracial or triracial.
Okay, first off, I really got annoyed by that lady's face. Just the way that she was kind of, okay, first off, why didn't free slaves get their 40 acres and a mule? Why? And once she figures that out, you know, once again, they got cheated, they got played, they got lied to, they got swindled, of course. That can just continue to get kicked down the road. And, you know, why, and once I learned this, I don't care what nobody has to say about reparations. Once I figure this out, when ex-slave owners, white folks, lost their slaves due to emancipation, they got reparations. Yeah. They got their money. So you telling me, you gonna tell me, huh?
That was true internationally too, especially in the case of the Haitians and the French.
So you're gonna tell me with a straight face that black folks, slaves during that time, got swindled and it's okay, but then white slave owners who lost their free labor, obviously, got reparations, and that's okay with you? It's too late now. That's your answer. It's too late. Oops, we forgot. You know, we were too busy trying to, like, you know, continue to terrorize black people throughout, you know, 20, 40, 50 years. We kind of forgot about reparations. Oops, my bad. That's your answer? My bad. We forgot. like injustice in time does not equal justice. You can't get me with that. Oh, it's too long now. And then she says, you know, where would the money come from? Well, where do you think all this money is coming from to support the Ukraine war? That's going to be her answer. Well, you know, where do you think we continue to find money to pump into our military? Oh, well, you see, that's kind of different because get out of here. It doesn't work like that.
So I want to piggyback on that because, and this is why I'm trying to tell you to push Stephanie Kelton's book up the priority list, because she goes into why this whole debt conversation is bullshit. Because both these parties play the game with this deficit shit. The U.S. We have so much debt. It doesn't fucking matter.
Just put it on the tab. Put it on the tab.
It doesn't fucking matter that much. What? We have this. We have the political theater, aka these whole the debt ceiling shit. That's nothing more than political fucking theater. And then next thing you know, you magically come out of that with near $900 billion total in defense spending. And so, and we see millions upon millions of dollars going to Ukraine. You got people going, okay, it's clear that and I think more people are starting to slowly figure out that maybe we don't know how this really works on a federal level. Because guess what? If you read The Deficit Man by Stephanie Kelton, and you'll understand why I've been trying to get Phil Scott and other people to read it. Because that strengthens the reparation argument.
Well, I'm definitely going to have to read that.
Yeah, it's really going to tell the fact that it's not that you can't do reparations in terms of cash payments. You don't want to. And that's even more devilish.
Yep. And it's only going to get, and she's right. It's going to be a mathematical nightmare for whoever has to calculate all. Thank God that's not me, because I already struggle with math. Now you want me to calculate? Like, no, it's already going to be a headache. But one, that's not my fault. That's the people who were in power, racist, didn't want to own up and pay their restitutions. And now it's a mathematical nightmare. But once again, that's not my fault. That's not how this works. You know what I'm saying? Let something happen to one of her relatives and, they're in a process of, getting their restitution because that's how justice in America works. And let her relative who got abused or whatever the horrific situation is, let them die. Let something happen and they die. The state, how justice works, it's not like, oh, they died. All right, well, all charges are, dropped and no restitution has to be paid. That's not how that works. You still have to pay, it goes to the government or it goes to, next of kin or whatever the process is, but that person still has to pay. It's not just, oh, that person died. Okay, I guess I'm scot-free. No, it doesn't work like that. So once again, man, these children of God need to really step their game up. They really need to get their weight up when it comes to just really like basic information.
At some point, I'll explain. Well, if you want me to, I'll explain my reparations stance.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would blow their goddamn minds with this shit.
Well, with the second channel, we're gonna discuss an entire video on reparations. Trust me.
Yep.
All right, let's see what they gotta say.
Like, do mixed people get it? And like, do Irish people get reparations when they were indentured servants?
I think for reparations, if you can find.
Okay, shit, man. I know people watching this really hate when I keep pausing the video, but in indentured servitude is different from forced slavery. That is not the same thing. That is, one of them is almost like paradise compared to real slavery. Because usually it's like a contract or it's an agreement between two parties. Like, hey, I'm going to work for you for X amount of years for whatever debt I have to pay or whatever this. You put yourself in that situation.
Would this be a fun time to mention that even some history textbooks of the South edited slavery and instead of calling slaves, they called them indentured servants?
Oh my God. And that's that wordplay.
Could you imagine every history major like reading that and going,
oh sweet
what the
God.
fuck is that?
Oh
Like,
sweet God.
No, I'm not teaching this. I'm good. Bye. Like, I have integrity. I'm good. I'm not teaching this shit.
and she's the clown to believe that. Black, enslaved people were indentured servants, and they just had like a what was it? Almost a 200-year contract, I guess, with white folks. You know, and then finally, you know, they paid off their debt and they were let for, like, that's probably her how her brain is processing everything. Like, yeah, they were just, you know, they had a 200 something year contract that they agreed to.
You know, I can also compare this to. It popped in my head, and it's just funny. That's like us saying that's like George W. Bush and those assholes like talking about we used enhanced interrogation techniques. No, bitch, you
Enhance
torture
my
people.
ass.
That's
Enhance
torture.
my
What the
ass.
fuck?
Yeah, like, come on, man. Don't try to play these word games with me, man. I got a smartphone with that is good with the dictionary, okay? Don't think you gonna play me like that, okay? Once again, I'm not the smartest person, you know what I'm saying? But I know how to use a smartphone. Okay, so don't try to play me with this indenture servitudes. Like, no, get out of here. You know, but all right, let's continue.
In specific instances of somebody being like actually deprived of something, whether specific instances of like the 40 acres and a meal promise, or whether you can find specific cases of like Chinese people building railroads or Irish people or whatever, people being deprived of things, that's okay. But otherwise, yeah, it's a logistical nightmare. There's no possible way that we'd be able to do it well.
Yeah, America's unique because we have bent over backwards for decades now, putting minorities in a position of privilege. I feel like we have done so much to give back to the community.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't say America bent over backwards to put in the way that he included himself in that. He said we bent over backwards to put minorities in a position. Really? Oh,
you basically put up a barrier between you and the black folks. You basically told the rest of us to fuck off.
Oh my God!
You frame that. I'm like, this is why this should have been all black. This is why this really should have been an all black panel.
Oh, this guy! I almost called him a nigga. I don't want to be that guy today. Okay, I was listening to Christian music earlier. I can't be, you know, I'm trying to do better for God. Okay, but this guy really had the nerve to say America bent over backwards for black folks.
Yeah, if this had been all black panel, you would call a nigga in like 10 seconds flat. What the fuck? Like,
bro, it would have been a lot of censored beeping going on because I would have had to get up and walk away. Like, this is not a real conversation. We're not doing this in good faith, huh? Y'all just trying to play me right now. Y'all think I'm Boo Boo the Fool right now, saying this ridiculous stuff. And y'all think I'm just gonna go along with this just to get you some views? Oh no, I'm out. Y'all better get another sucker to sit here and listen to this nonsense. I ain't gonna do it. You ain't gonna sit here and look me in the face with your ugly face and say, "Oh, America bent." Oh, I'ma bend my foot. Don't play me like that. Don't talk to me like that.
America bent over backwards so much, huh?
Jesus Christ.
Really? Tell me, why couldn't we get patents on our own shit? If America really bent over backwards, okay, cool. So you should be fine without black bodies, right? And black inventions, right?
Why?
So you should be able to give us back everything that was created by black hands. Oh wait, that's right. That'd be a real fucking problem, wouldn't it? The traffic light, refrigerated trucks, home security systems. Let's see, the gas mask. Do I really need to keep going on about how much that'd be a real fucking problem for your society?
Or what about the GI Bill that old boy brought up? How many black soldiers who put their life on the line, who came back mangled and disabled to come back to nothing but more racism?
Yeah.
Oh, and they was just giving houses pretty much for free for a lot of white folks, education pretty much for free. But no, America was bending over backwards for black folks. Oh yeah, Tulsa, and let's be clear. Tulsa, Oklahoma was not the only community that was torn down that was thriving. It was dozens throughout decades that was destroyed from racism.
from
But
fucking
no.
Durham, North Carolina, Harlem, New York, Little Rock, Arkansas, Rosewood down here in Florida. I mean, the Ocoee massacre in Florida, where people were murdered for voting, where brothers and sisters were murdered for voting. So,
But no, E-Way, you're wrong, because that's America bending over backwards for black folks. That was doing them a favor, because black folks don't know how to handle money. Black people don't know how to handle success in a successful business. So, racist white folks have to do what they do best and destroy black progress. So that's America doing what America is supposed to do. So he is right. America did bend over backwards to destroy black folks. They went out of their way, out of their comfort zone to destroy black folks. So he is right in a sense. Maybe he's doing like some 4D chess right now. Cause now I'm starting to agree with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, America is right. America did bend over backwards for black folks, but not in the way that we think. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'm the crazy one. I'm playing 2D chess and he's on a whole nother level right now.
if you replace this fool with Tim Scott on the stage, he would say that shit with a straight face. America is not a racist country.
Oh,
you can
Jesus.
shut the fuck up.
Oh man.
No, when I played that, my auntie was like, no, this has to be a white dude. I'm like, nope.
Oh,
like,
sweet
no.
God.
Get the fuck out.
Oh man, I can't believe this dude done said that. America done bent over back. Okay, we're almost done with this section. We can do it. Okay, I can do it. We're almost done. Let's just make it to the finish line. Okay, let's just hear what they got to say.
Yeah, let's just make it.
Communities that were obviously wronged. And I agree with both of you. Like, had this happened a long time ago, I would understand it. If we had specific incidences that we could trace where people were just completely screwed over, I would respect it. But right now, I don't deserve a payment for something my great-great-great-great-grandparents went through. And I don't think that white people are responsible for paying that to me either.
I know we don't.
Oh, he said if we can trace and historically find documents of where black people were wrong, like bruh, you can
historical documents are destroyed. Most of them are.
He can pick up just about any history book and flip it to any page, and it probably tell you right there. It is not hard. And like you say, a lot of this information was destroyed, but it's still so much other information he could just go off of. Like, it's what is that supposed to mean? Like, oh well, if you can, we know that in nothing, even with Tulsa, they still haven't given what's due to the folks who lost their homes and relatives and their business. They still haven't been compensated. So what are you really talking about? I don't get it. Over 300 people died, and he's just like, well, can you just point out in history where black people were wronged? Well, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that.
I mean, what's even more devilish in the Tulsa case is that there's only a handful. I think it's like 2 or 3 survivors still left. And they're all in their hundreds.
Yep.
And it's just like when I stopped, I remember this was going on in the middle of a school day. Some of them were speaking. So I'm like, you know what? Geometry is on pause. Because I'm in an all-black classroom. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Geometry is on pause right now. Y'all go listen to some historical shit right now. This is our people's shit. So, and yeah, my principal was cool with it before anybody starts tripping. Yeah, my principal's a brother, and he was cool with the shit. And so,
yeah, it's
so insulting to. You're basically fuck. Like you're giving them one last middle finger before that breath leaves their body.
Yep.
It's like that last middle finger. It's just like, and of course, none of that, us seeing that, not enough of us seeing that doesn't turn into just straight rage. It just, not enough of us, it's turning into rage. Enough of us just like, well, we tried. No, why is this not turning into rage?
All right, well let's see what this other clown has to say.
I want to use the word virtue signaling, but it's sort of like a bribe for a vote in a way, at least in my opinion. In states like California, where they've been throwing around the idea of, oh, we want to pay out this much money to every black citizen in there, in this state, it's like, oh, are you serious? Because this is kind of like a joke, in my opinion.
I think that if we impose reparations now, I think it would rip America apart. I think that we're already separated enough as it is, and now you're going to have people walking around going, "You owe me money. You owe me money. I'm not paying you any money." It would just really rip us apart.
Giving somebody money doesn't mean anything if they don't know what to do with the money or how to handle the money.
Hold
So
on,
if
let's
the
hear
primary
her.
issue in black culture or with black people is generational trauma, then maybe they need more therapy than they need money, honestly.
Which
Okay.
Boss, oh my god.
All
So
right.
so oh my god, let me start with this shit. Oh, dude. For real?
What's okay? So she said, okay, a lot of people are gonna be. I don't even care what the young black guy said. Like it was okay, whatever. But the older lady said, you know, people would be walking around saying, "You owe me money. You owe me money. I ain't giving you money." What?
If you handle it the way that I'm gonna say that you should handle it, that's not an issue.
I mean,
That's not an issue at all.
I don't even know how she even came to that conclusion where people are gonna be walking around saying you owe me money. Like, am I just gonna go to a random white person and be like, "Sir, what's your name?" Okay, my name is Jerome, and you owe me money. Like, how, what kind of world do you think black people live in? Where we're just gonna be walking around saying you owe me money, like that I don't even know how to even challenge that statement because it's not going to happen. Unless the government says you got to get your money from these people, that's your reparations. Then yeah, I'll be going to white folks saying, "Hey, you owe me some money. The government says so." You know, like. But other than that, like, that's not how reality works. You know, like the Japanese, when they got reparations from America, Japanese people didn't go around telling to white folks, "You owe me money." That's not how that worked. You know. So, but when black people want reparations, she feels we're gonna act like animals, like we're uncivilized, you know, just going to random people saying you owe me money because that's what she thinks of black folks.
Yeah.
I know, like it's hard to really.
Like I said, my stance on this addresses all of this shit. Because it's not even that fear is not even a relevant fear. That's some fear that people are taking advantage of in terms of your lack of knowledge and how money works on the federal level.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
don't get me started on the young jit. Dear God, man.
Yeah, I don't even want to. That was probably the wackest, and thank God, you know. But that's something I can ignore because it's like, okay. Of course, Democrats are going to use something like that to muster up votes, but I mean that still doesn't mean black folks, you know.
And let me correct that Jit. No. You know what? I'm gonna say something about little Jit right there, because holy shit, do you know California is the 5th largest economy on the planet? It's the 5th largest economy. That's the only real reason they can even have that discussion.
Damn, I didn't know that.
That's the only fucking reason. And on top of that, kid, even if it was a token gesture, which it is, and we can agree that it's a token gesture, it's a step in getting the conversation started. Now, that's not good enough for me either. But at least we get to see where these politicians really are.
Yeah.
It actually puts these politicians in a really awkward situation.
Oh, all right. All right. We got a few more to go. Let's hopefully no one says nothing stupid here.
conservatives are also against.
Well, that's kind of my argument. Like, if there is like that, like generational trauma or whatever, like I think examples of like free healthcare, they could see a therapist and not be, fall into debt. And I think the argument of like the logistical nightmares of it, I think if we want to pay for something in this country, we usually find a way to do it, especially when it comes to the military. So, we pay for multi-billion-dollar
It's
jets
not
all
the
the
dollars,
time.
it's who's supposed to get them.
Not to attack progressives, but that is like the most progressive idea in the world. Is like I can see the headlines like reparations voted on in Congress to be paid in the form of free therapy for people.
Okay, so before they get in now, after this, after the statement they're gonna make after this, I am completely done with these black folks on this panel, and I don't know if you.
Let me say something.
Go ahead.
Let me say something about the liberals on this panel. Free healthcare and mental health is not part of reparations. It's not. It should be a human right in this country for stuff.
Boom, there it is.
You can't think of it like that. This is what we talk about with white liberals in terms of this aspect of paternalization. How can you speak on our shit if you don't know our shit? This is what gets them in trouble with black folks across the spectrum.
It's funny because he said earlier they said it'd be a nightmare when it comes to trying to figure out how much, but then the young black kid was like, well, I'm not saying how much, but who would get it. It's like, no, you did argue. A lot of Republicans argue, first off, how much would be a nightmare to figure out. And then because it's been neglected for so long, who would get it? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, once again, just because a bunch of time has passed because it was purposely looked over, doesn't mean that it's like all of a sudden null and void. That's not how justice works. You know what I'm saying? So,
and let me clarify something about U.S. debt real quick. I know I'm being random, but this whole shit, it's in our currency. We have a sovereign currency, and Stephanie Kelly makes a point about this. Nations with sovereign currency can take advantage of something like MMT. Take advantage of manipulating currency in a way where they can still have debt, but literally their population is well taken care of. That is if they want to. If the power of the purse, aka Congress, wants to.
that makes sense. But once again, they obviously don't know or care about that. So let's now like I said, what they're gonna say next, I think is it shows their true colors. You know what I'm saying? Like they must have did a survey to find a real self-hating black conservatives they could find. Now listen to what they say.
On the hood, that just sounds like the funniest thing in the world. But
well, I also don't think it's gonna come directly from white person to black person. Like, oh, your lineage affected his lineage.
It is though. Like in San Francisco, they were going to raise the average family, or the average household in San Francisco was expected to pay $600,000 each with the $5 million per black person proposal that they had. And I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I was repulsed by that because you have so many homeless veterans on the streets, and they were going to give black people a home for as little as $1 just for being black. Mind you, slavery wasn't even in California. So why that was going to be the case, like, I don't understand, but it's extremely unrealistic to think that the average family in San Francisco can afford that.
That's because Newsom wants to get reelected.
Okay, but you don't really care
Precisely.
about homeless veterans, right?
That's just
you
a
don't
laughable
support.
idea.
You don't know
I feel
me.
like all your arguments are ad hominem.
But you're here
Literally
as a
every
conservative.
single one ad
You're here as a
hominem.
conservative. So what policies do you support for homeless veterans?
There's ways to address,
Specifically.
for homeless in general.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that we didn't find a middle ground in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
now listen.
That's a great ending note.
White liberals.
Ah, shoot, they didn't. Oh,
So,
okay.
let me talk about that. There was slavery in California. It's just not talked about.
I
Shit. I know I forget exactly the full story, but I know African Diaspora News Channel, one of Phil's channels did a video on it. But yeah, that whole California didn't have slaves thing is not entirely true.
I'm trying to find. I wanna find this spot here, man, because it was damn near disrespectful, man. Like it made me I don't know them on a personal level, but after hearing what they said, I was like, you know what? I see you now.
Savior complex. I think
And,
that
and
there's a lot of white
homeboy,
people who genuinely think that black.
Oops. Yeah.
and homeboy is like, well, California was. I'm like, they're a state economy. Yeah, they're the fifth largest in the world, but they're still a state economy. There's a difference between trying to do reparations on the state level, which is something I would not recommend, versus trying to do it on the federal level.
Mm.
I don't recommend the state level anyway. It causes too many internal class issues,
And you know,
as homeboy just displayed.
and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I read this right, but they proposed something to Newsom and he rejected it. You know, so he's not serious about giving reparations. Once again, they Democrats love to tote something like that just to get attention. But to me, in my opinion, no matter what they bring to him, he's gonna shoot it down. You know what I'm saying? So let me see if I can find
People are
this
oppressed
video
and they
here.
want to help, and that's what they're told.
What it seems like to me, when most people have savior complex, regardless of whom they're trying to save, it's like they're taking real pain and real trauma and using that as a way to push this political agenda, but also to alleviate themselves of whatever guilt that they feel unnecessarily. Like, I don't know why a white person today would feel guilty for things that happened decades ago, let alone something that happened centuries ago.
I've never seen a white person say, I personally feel guilty for slavery.
I
Maybe they're
promise
out
you I
there,
have.
but I've never heard that.
Yeah, in second grade, when they taught us about slavery, almost every kid in my classroom would spend their entire time looking at black kids in that classroom. How was I supposed to not think, wow, these people are feeling guilty for something that they have no involvement in and I have no involvement
Every kid in
in?
my classroom understood the context.
People
so.
hate feeling uncomfortable, and obviously you don't want to feel like the bad guy, and so I feel like it comes from a place of like, oh well, like let me make sure that I'm different and like I'm showing you that I want to like help you, but it comes across like I think it can land very poorly.
I'll tell you what, stop it. Stop
Okay.
it. Because what happens is when you put yourself as the white savior, what you do is you elevate yourself above the black person because you feel then like you have to save us. So just stop it. Just treat everybody regular and normal. Just like I would treat you regular and normal, you treat us regular and normal rather than trying to save us.
I just got.
Okay, so one, I would rather deal with a white savior, someone with a white savior complex, than a white devil complex. You know what I'm saying? Like it took me a while to kind of figure out this question and you know, looking up the real definition and how that could kind of be perceived. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I don't really think that matters. But I can't find that part, man, where they said something about like, well, why don't we just give, you know, black folks let them go to college for free, and then the black guy in the purple, he was like, oh, so it could be even more ghetto. I was like, oh shit, man. This dude.
I remember hearing that part, pausing it and just going.
I was like, oh, bro, man, this dude.
We take your black card and cutting it up.
I was like, this dude really doesn't like it's deeper than just Republican conservative talking points. Like, he really has a disdain for black culture, which, you know, some we can have a conversation about that, but to have a disdain like that, whoa, okay, you showing your colors there, buddy. You know, and I ain't colorblind. You feel me? So, yeah. Oh shoot. All right, Mr. E. Wade. Well, once again, I think that was another successful